It's the Solterra, the first fully electric car from Subaru. Is it any good? Will it convince people to jump out of a Tesla Model Y, or should you just buy a Forester? That's what we're going to find out. The Solterra starts from $77,990. $8,000 price cut? Oh, no, sorry, it starts from $69,990 now. And it comes with a range of 485 kilometers. Sorry? That's the optimistic NEDC figure. Right, okay. Do we have the WLTP figure? Subaru won't give us that. Okay. Right, okay, we don't actually know what the range is, but we do know that the equivalent Toyota all-wheel drive is 411 kilometers, so we'll go with that. Other specs? I'm going to go and look some up. Yes, in case you've missed it, the Solterra is a near identical twin to the Toyota BZ4X as part of the latest JV between the Japanese brands. Toyota is offering a front-wheel drive entry model from $6,000, but Subaru is sticking rigidly to its all-wheel drive guns. An all-wheel drive BZ4X is closer to the Solterra Touring grade that adds extra gear over the base model. Those all-wheel drives also share dual motors, dishing out 160 kilowatts and 337 newton meters to all four wheels, with all models using the same 64 kilowatt-hour battery that's on the smaller side for the segment. Spec levels between the Subi and Toyota all-wheel drives are very similar, with some subtle differences. The same can be said about the exterior and interior designs. Cabin impressions first. Slight ergonomic issue, something that's a problem in Peugeots with its iCockpit setup, where the steering wheel, whatever position you put it in, just seems to obscure the digital driver display ahead, which is not ideal. So I'm actually now adjusting the steering wheel a bit lower. It's not really my perfect driving position, but apart from that, there is electric adjustment for the driver's seat on the base model, also the passenger seat at the front on the touring model, which is a bit more expensive. Let's say I actually found the cloth seats in the base model a little bit more comfortable, just a fraction, just with a bit more under thigh support, but these artificial leather seats are not too bad. Plenty of electric adjustment. The cabin, it's a little bit different to your usual Subaru interior. Of course, it's virtually identical to the interior of the Toyota BZ4X, which is not really ideal. Makes it harder for both brands to sort of get that brand character into the car. A lot of hard plastics, a lot of shiny piano black surfacing for the center console, on the door trim. It's very like a jet fighter cockpit. It's quite snug. Not sure if that's a good thing or bad thing, or depend on your preference, but it's a very high and wide double section center console. Gives you lots of good storage underneath though, but as I say, it's not the most spacious of the EVs that you can get in this class. Like an Ioniq 5 springs to mind. It's a very spacious front cabin, and the infotainment, well, it's a 12.3 inch screen, so nothing wrong with the size. And the rear seat, that's not great either. Legroom's kind of fine, but the floor is high because of the battery pack, and that means that even for someone like me, 5'8", behind my own driving position, in a bit of a knees up position. And boot space, 410 litres, that's also nothing particularly remarkable for what is a medium-sized SUV. You can adjust the regen braking via the paddles, which is super convenient. So at the moment we're in very much like a sort of coast mode with minimal regen. So I'm just going to flick the left pedal there. Okay. That's a little bit stronger without being too aggressive. There is supposedly one pedal driving, so we've just clicked it to the maximum level and it gives us a little green symbol suggesting it's one pedal. Let's see what happens. Okay, rolling right off. Yeah, I'm not sure that's quite one pedal driving. It was still moving along a little bit there, well after I came off the accelerator pedal. Let's try again. Now we're uphill, well away from any traffic, so very safe. Still kind of just rolling forward. So if we were in traffic, you are going to go into the car ahead unless you put your foot on the brake. Okay, let's go. Some twisty roads. Very nicely balanced. You've got that low centre of gravity from the heavy battery that's right low down in the construction of the vehicle. That's helpful. Steering, really nicely weighted, and it's accurate as well. Here's a corner, just tip it in, just gently apply the input. That's really nice. There is a fair bit of road noise that you get from those 20-inch wheels, and the ride is generally on the firm side. Not overly uncomfortable that we're finding, but those tyres, they give you very good grip in corners if you're so inclined to drive that way. So yeah, there's much to like about the way it drives. Performance, well, it's all-wheel drive dual motor, but the stats, well, they're not that impressive really for an all-wheel drive. So dual motors for a combined 160 kilowatts, 337 newton meters. Pretty much all of its all-wheel drive rivals are much higher than that. Well over 200 kilowatts, over 400 newton meters. So 0 to 100 is a claimed 6.9 seconds. Something like the Model Y all-wheel drive is 5 seconds, 0 to 100. The Ioniq 5 all-wheel drive, 5.1 seconds. Both those cars feel really, really quick. And, well, the Solterra is brisk. Punch it, and it may well be enough performance for most buyers. It's very smooth, but yeah, it's not excitingly quick. Again, like many of its rivals. There is a drive mode selection button here. It's a bit over on this far left side of the console, which is not ideal when you're actually driving for changing, but there's an eco mode, normal, and then there is power, which is supposed to sort of sharpen up throttle response. Honestly, I can't really detect any difference between the modes. Maybe I'm missing something. Anyway. Now, this is only a launch drive, so it's not particularly scientific because we haven't set up any of the trip details, but if we just go into the trip information on the screen and look at the history, so we've got a previous best of 17.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and at the moment we're on nearly 22 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. That's not particularly efficient. You got Model Y is in the mid-teens, and then you've got your likes of your EV6 from Kia and the Ioniq 5. They tend to be pretty efficient as well with their batteries. So first impressions, not great on the efficiency of the Solterra, and I've been hearing from John on the Toyota BZ4X launch, which happens to be going on at exactly the same time, bizarrely. He's also having a similar experience there with battery efficiency over 20. So question mark there, and that's not ideal when you've already got a range which is 485 on the overly optimistic NEDC cycle. Subaru won't give us, as I mentioned earlier, the WLTP range, but the Toyota equivalent is 411 kilometers, so we'll go with that, but I think you're going to struggle to get over 400 kilometers of range out of the Solterra, if I'm going to be honest. And that's not great for a mid-sized EV SUV, because again, you've got rivals that are offering quite a bit more. While the Solterra's range might dictate just how adventurous owners may get with the vehicle, the EV does have some genuine off-road capability. With 212mm of ground clearance, that's just 8mm lower than the Forester's, and similarly utilising an X-Mode system with calibrations for snow, dirt and deep snow mud, the Solterra navigated a short uphill-downhill four-wheel drive track, featuring some slightly awkward creek crossings and soggy mud ruts, without fuss or scraping any bodywork. The grip control function too is clever. It's a low-speed off-road cruise control function that allows the driver to dictate the crawling speed of ascent-descent via a small toggle.
We deliberately stopped in the middle of one soaked mud rut to give the electronics an extra challenge. After a couple of seconds of fruitlessly spinning the right rear wheel that was in the puddle, the system detected our subtle increase in throttle pressure and switched more torque to the wheels with better traction to get us underway again.
So the Solterra is a good first EV effort from Subaru, though it's not on first impressions the standout in its segment. But another way to look at it, it is the closest you can currently get to an electric Forester.